Hey everybody, it's Sunday evening and I want to do a quick update on my office tank here. These late, long summer days getting the better of me. I keep forgetting it's getting as late as it is. It's already after 8 o'clock and I haven't even had dinner myself yet, let alone gone around and feed the fishes or anything else. So I'm afraid tonight all we're going to get video-wise is just a quick update on my office tank here. Not a lot to talk about. I'm still feeding the medicated food. I've got a Bolivian ram in this tank that is woefully skinny. And there he is. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's a parasite. I don't know if it's a gut issue. You know, it doesn't have proper bacterial growth going on in its gut. I'm not really sure what the problem with it is, but I've had it for a couple of months now, and it's still just as skinny as can be. And so I've been feeding it medicated food. I tried the API General Cure, and that really didn't seem to have an effect. And it's been a couple of weeks now that I've been feeding it this food. Every third day or so, I have to feed it the medicated food and turn the lights out and do a water change the next day. And so I've been staying on top of it, but it does not really seem to be having a huge impact on the little Bolivian ram there. He still looks pretty much the same wafer thin little fish. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, and I hope it recovers and starts doing better. I did see some keyhole cichlids the other day when I was at the fish store, and I thought about maybe bringing some keyhole cichlids home to add to this tank. But I think I'm going to wait to find out what's going to happen with this little Bolivian ram. If it doesn't make it, I can do something altogether different. And if it does make it, I don't know if I really want to add anything else to the tank, because a Bolivian ram can get, maybe 3 inches long and would be a nice beefy little fish for this smaller size tank. And then having some other cichlids in there, I think would be maybe a little bit too much. So let's wait and find out what happens with that ram. If it doesn't make it, then we can do something else with this tank. Maybe even try a German blue. I've never had any luck with those either, but I've always wanted to have a German blue ram. So maybe that'll be something that we could think of a little bit down the road in this tank. The other thing I've got going on in this tank was I recently cut my swamp weed, or my temple plant, formerly known as hygrophilia or hygrophilia. And it was growing almost up to the ceiling, and you can see I cut the whole top branch off, that whole section there. And it is actually growing back just as I had hoped. We're getting some bushy growth there, and then we're getting some growth out here on the tips of these branches. So I'm actually going to try to keep that center part trimmed as much as possible. You can see we're getting a little bit of new growth even generating out here off of these little nodes. So I'm going to try to let these outer parts grow. I'm going to keep the center part here trimmed and as small as I can, because having the tank lit up like this is awesome. I really, really like having the tank fully lit like this. The way the temple plant was before, it was so tall and the leaves were so directly underneath of that. I mean, it was almost touching that floodlight up there, and as a result it was just making huge shadows. Almost no light at all was getting down to the tank. It was just peeking in here and there. So when I cut that whole top section off, it just opened up the top of the tank completely. And now with that 2700K LED in there, and it's that good high quality Cree LED, it just looks fantastic. I really, really enjoy the way this tank looks with that light shining in it now. So I really don't want to have it all completely overgrown with that temple plant again. I'm going to let it grow, and I'm going to groom it and manicure it in such a way, train it even. Maybe I'll bend the branches in certain directions. So I'm definitely going to have a big bushy temple plant growing out of this tank. It's just not going to be centered over the tank. I'm going to allow the light to still get in. Other than that, you can see I've got a lot of snails in this tank. That doesn't bother me. They just help keep the tank clean, and it's a source of food for butterbean. I keep my little tongs right here, and every few days when the snails are getting to be like they are tonight, then I will go through here. In fact, I'm going to do that as soon as this video is over. I'll collect up all these little snails here and wind up going down Got another one right there. We got another big one right there. And once you really start looking around and getting your eye in, you'll actually see snails all over the Java Windelov in there and everything else. So I got plenty of snails in there. And of course, you can even see snail eggs. There's little clusters of white dots are actually snail eggs. And I usually have them in multiple places all over this tank. I can see here, there's a patch right here. And that's all I really see right here on the front glass. Oh, wow, look at this. Look at all these snails. It's like a racing snail there. Look at them all. So it's definitely time I get in there. These are the algae wafers I put in there last night for my little Bolivian ram right there. See, that gives you a little better look at see how thin it is? Almost no meat at all in its belly. It's almost concave in its belly, and it has been ever since I got it. It just won't put on weight. It eats, but it just doesn't put on weight. So I've been putting the algae wafers. It tends to pick the algae wafers off the bottom. It seems to like them more than other foods, and I think that's what all these clusters of snail are. They all gathered around on those algae wafers there, and they're munching on them. So not a lot going on. Just kind of keeping with it. We're going to stick with the medication until he either gets better or dies, one or the other, or I run out of medication. I got a big old bag of it, so it'll take a long time to run it out. I would imagine within another few weeks, if I don't see any changes, I'm going to just go ahead and stop with the medication. It's pretty expensive stuff, and if it's not having any impact, then I don't see any point in continuing to use it. It really should, within a couple of weeks, we should have started to see some improvement, and we're kind of there now. I've been using the stuff for a couple of weeks, and right now, I'm so far not seeing any improvement. So cross your fingers. Maybe we'll see some soon. Maybe we're just now getting into the effective range. You have to use it for a certain amount of time before it really starts having an impact, and perhaps we're right at that point where it's just now going to start having an impact and we're going to see some weight start coming back onto that fish. I don't know. I hope so. In the meantime, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss anything I've got coming up. Don't forget, this one here is my 20-gallon open top office tank, and of course, if you're subscribed, you won't miss the updates I'm going to have coming up on this one with that temple plant growing in and sick fish and everything else. So thanks again. I'll see you on the next one.